This is the AI news update for the week of March 18 to 24, 2026. So with NVIDIA's GTC 2026 taking center stage and major model updates from OpenAI and Anthropic, the focus is about speed, efficiency, and the physical manifestation of AI. So let's take a look. First off, for NVIDIA's GPU Technology Conference, or GTC, so many acronyms, I can't keep them straight. We covered this a bit last week where NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang officially unveiled the Vera Rubin architecture, which promises 10x improvement in throughput on a per watt basis with a massive leap in memory bandwidth. So let's see how that works in real life. When it comes to AI infrastructure, I thought this was worth highlighting because on the products and chatter online, everyone is throwing about this $650 billion infrastructure spending projection, which came out in February. At the GTC, Huang said the spending will be more like around $1 trillion by 2027. NVIDIA itself is more or less transitioning from a chip maker to the AI factory operator for the global economy. And of course, given that computer chips are obsolete in 4 to 5 years' time maximum, that is a lot of money to recover on the investment in a very short period of time. What I'd like to know, did they find any MBA to run the numbers for them? What is the ROI on this investment? So the vast team here of experts and researchers at Strategy Stratum will be tracking this metric very carefully if we can find any evidence at all that someone has actually run the calculations. Something else I'm not sure NVIDIA has calculated in its financial Excel file is that while the hardware investment is getting bigger, the models are getting leaner. So OpenAI ChatGPT 5.4 Mini and Nano were released on March 17, but dominating the news cycle this past week. The models are optimized specifically for coding and sub-agents. GPT 5.4 Mini is reportedly twice as fast than the previous 5 Mini, and matching its performance on complex reasoning tasks. Meanwhile, Anthropic Claude Opus 4.6 on March 24 was quietly rolled out alongside its latest economic index report. And what we see, the new model focuses on collaborative augmentation with data showing that experienced users are now eliciting significantly higher value outputs through long horizon reasoning. So Google made waves this past week with tools aimed at making its ecosystem more open, or at least we can say more inviting to defectors. The report surfaced on March 24 that Google is testing a migration tool for Gemini, allowing its users to import their entire chat history and personal memory from ChatGPT and Claude, addressing the start from scratch problem that prevents many users from switching AI assistants. Google also updated its Gemini 3 API to support grounding with Google Maps, allowing developers to build agents that can reason accurately about real-world locations and navigation. So meanwhile, a more sobering story emerged from the RSAC 2026 conference in San Francisco. Cue the sad music. I'll have to work on that next time. Leaders of the Common Vulnerabilities Exposures Program, the CVE, warned that the system is on the brink of collapse. The primary culprit, AI-generated vulnerability reports. So, okay, so what are examples of these CVE reports? And I found this quite interesting. So CVE-2021-44228, also named Log4Shell, affected Apache Log4j, allowing hackers to execute arbitrary code. Okay, so that's one example. CVE 2017-0144, called Eternal Blue, was a Windows SMB protocol flaw used by the WannaCry ransomware. Another one in 2014, Heartbleed, a critical vulnerability in OpenSSL. Another one named Dirty Pipe, more recently, a Linux kernel flaw. And Blue Keep was a remote desktop protocol vulnerability in an older Windows system. So what CV does is track these vulnerabilities. And what they said last week, however, is worrisome. The sheer volume of automated bug submissions has overwhelmed the manual vetting process used by human researchers. So this has sparked an industry-wide debate on whether we need an AI for AI defense system to vet vulnerabilities at the same speed they are discovered. I would say the answer is yes. And it reminds me of the early days when there was a lady at Yahoo who, I forgot her name, who manually cataloged web pages for Yahoo's Internet Index, and yes, those were the days. On March 23, Apple officially announced that the Worldwide Developers Conference will return on June 8, where developers can attend sessions and interface with Apple engineers. Apple's 2026 event will go from June 8 to Friday, June 12. As in recent years, Apple is sticking with a hybrid remote in-person event. So don't worry, you can attend no matter who you are or where you are, maybe. The conference is expected to focus heavily on Siri 2.0. This AI-powered update that they're coming up with of the virtual assistant is expected to be part of the iOS 27 and Mac OS 27 ecosystem updates, and will integrate generative AI, LLMs, and Google Gemini technology. Rumors also suggest Apple will move away from its current built-in tool model toward a standalone Siri agent app. And the agent is expected to have on-screen awareness, allowing for example, multi-step actions across different apps. So apparently you'll be able to say, hey Siri, take the flight info from this email and book a ride for that time to get me to the airport or something like that. To which Siri will probably reply, sorry, which email? I'm confused. Oh, that one. Okay, then what do you want me to do? Okay, dear, could you give me your credit card? Okay, so you all remember last week when I promised to go into more detail on the job loss situation because this is a favorite topic of mine. So here it is. Now it's important to remember that not only is AI generating job losses, but also generating job gains. So let's look at some of the numbers. So here we're not just talking about future disruption. We're seeing a massive structural reorganization of how companies hire, fire, and define their productivity. So 2026 is probably becoming the year of the Great Reshuffle. This is a term hearing more and more online. So layoffs in traditional roles paired together with a desperate, high-paying search for new-collar talent. That's another term we're going to hear more of. Global tech layoffs reached approximately 45,000 in March alone, with an estimated 20% of those attributed directly to AI-driven restructuring. So from these numbers, we can see an automation squeeze. According to studies, CFOs now report that AI is most likely to replace routine back office roles. In banking and finance, for example, agents are taking over high volume transactional workflows such as bookkeeping and entry-level auditing. Companies like Block, and I covered this last week, and eBay have cut thousands of roles toward an AI first model. Entry-level cybersecurity analyst positions are also seeing a compression with AI tools handling the first layer of threat detection. But it isn't just early career job opportunities. AI is coming from middle management as well. Analysts predict that up to 20% of organizations will use AI to flatten their hierarchy by the end of 2026, automating reporting and scheduling tasks typically held by middle managers, apparently. On the bright side, there are some job gains being referred to as the new collar job boom. So LinkedIn data indicates that AI has already added 1.3 million new jobs globally. And the fastest growing titles include AI engineers, MLOps specialists, and AI ethics and governance leads. The massive build out of AI infrastructure has created over 600,000 jobs in data center construction, power management, and included in that specialized hardware maintenance. And it is said that AI work is generating a wage premium. So where workers with verified AI skills are currently commanding a 56% wage premium over their peers in similar non-AI integrated roles. Insert sponsorship from an AI training school. Not yet. Need your likes and comments, people, and your views. Only 10 or 20 would be okay. Thanks, Mom. So three industries are probably at the epicenter of this transformation, each of them defining what it means to be a professional in 2026. So for management and strategy consulting, this will be a pivot year. While junior level tasks, such as research, deck building, and financial modeling are being automated, demand for AI strategy consulting is skyrocketing, according to some reports. And according to my AI research, firms are moving away from hourly billing towards outcome-based pricing. So, and success then now depends on agentic AI orchestration. In fact, I have a video on this as well on this channel. You can check it out, like, comment, subscribe. What companies will need is the ability to help clients manage networks of autonomous agents rather than just using a single chatbot for every new slide. So also in healthcare, we're seeing a top of license movement. So AI is being deployed to handle the administrative time sinks that currently consume nearly twice as much time as direct patient care. The administrative work, in other words, is twice as much time it takes for healthcare workers than the actual time that they spend on patients. So healthcare industry is using ambient scribers to just write everything down, along with AI-assisted triage, allowing nurses and care facility staff to focus on high-touch, human-centric tasks, or just allowing hospital administrators to push more work onto fewer nurses. Of course, the industry is seeing more and more AI monitoring for early risk of stroke or heart disease, moving healthcare essentially from reactive to proactive. Defense and aerospace is also seeing a major shift from the front lines to maintenance bays. So major budget allocations, for example, $3 billion in the US alone, are being directed toward additive manufacturing, 3D printing, and predictive maintenance. So this has created a demand for human-machine teaming specialists who can manage autonomous drone fleets and AI-driven supply chains and everything in between. And yeah, perhaps one of the most surprising little bits of news over this past month is that 2/3 of companies that conducted AI-driven layoffs in late 2025, according to a survey, are already rehiring. Yes, something about experience. Only AI has a few months of experience, which would not be enough for most HR screeners. So firms have discovered that while AI can replace tasks, it cannot yet replace institutional knowledge or the nuanced oversight required to manage AI employees and their hallucination risks. So this has led to essentially a reconstitution of roles where employees are brought back, but expected to work as AI supervisors. Probably not allowed to join a union, but hopefully should come up with better vacation benefits. Apparently, Southeast Asia is currently outpacing the global average, according to this report, in scaling AI beyond the pilot phase. So in Malaysia, for example, that country just north of Singapore, government reports indicate that 30% of jobs will be significantly altered by 2030. Only 30%, I find that interesting, with an urgent push to reskill 600,000 workers in the next few years to meet the demand for new high-tech roles. So in an economy with about 16 million employment, 16 million size of the workforce, so quite significant number. So we've covered a lot of ground today, but thinking about AI and the future of the workforce, and while certainly concerns about job displacement are valid, it is possible that AI will be more likely to augment roles than replace them entirely. And we've seen that over and over again historically, where new technology brings with it new demands and thus a role for people. And for sure, we're seeing a surge in demand for specialized positions like data scientists and AI ethicists, alongside, of course, human-centric shift in traditional sectors where the AI is taking over a lot of the traditional tasks. But let's remember that success in this new era depends on upskilling and adaptability, and taking steps to capture the synergy between human intuition and machine efficiency for the future of work. And with that, I wish you all the best on your AI journey, and have a great day ahead.